I think we're going live now. Boom! What is up, Mind Buzz Universe? Amber just got into the studio. It's her first day to switch the cameras. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Mind Buzz podcast, where we talk to all your favorite artists, your favorite podcasters, your favorite musicians, and your favorite comedians. My name is Gil, and working behind the scenes with the 1s, 2s, 3s, 4, and sometimes 5s and 6 is Amber. What's going on?
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I don't think we have a My Grito Weekly.
We don't.
No, so I know, right? Guess we don't have, so we don't know what's going on in My Grito this week.
We're kidding. Everyone deserves a break sometime.
I guess. But if you're like me and Amber, there's no rest for the wicked, right, Amber?
Yeah.
So we had a couple of things going on over the past couple of days. Was it Friday? Last Friday, we had one of our friends from the show, Harry Katz and the Pistachios. They did.
Oh, it was on Saturday.
Was it Saturday?
Yes.
Saturday or Friday?
Saturday.
Okay. Well, it was Saturday. They did Artist in the Alley right here in downtown Pomona, and it was freaking cool. It was our first time out there. It was awesome.
That was really cool. It was fun.
It was literally in an alley. Like the backdrop was super cool. I was able to hold one of those "Oh yes" signs, so I was pretty fulfilled.
You fulfilled your I don't know.
My Harry Katz
fantasy,
if we want to say it. But
that's the band's name, not his love for Harry Katz.
Yeah. But other than that, last night we hung out at First Amendment Pizza Joint for the Monday Night Goofball, which I did a spot there. Thank you, Gilberto Gibby Lopez, for that. And it was pretty cool. He does this open mic once a week, every Monday. It's completely free. Sign-ups start at 6:30 p.m. every Monday night, hosted by Gibby Lopez. The First Amendment, a pizza joint. And I wanted to give a quick shout-out to all the comics that came out and did a spot. It was Kyle Patterson, 7. He wrote, I don't know if that's the name of the person.
I think it was 7-7.
Okay, 7-7. Darby Cash, Owen Parker, Nick Lanny, Andrew Moncayo, Sean Dolan, Leo, Vinny Vega, and Johnny Gold. Met all you guys out there. Great set. Good stuff last night. And we were just talking about how there's no hub for open mics. For comedians, for musicians, for poets. There's nothing like that. So me and Amber are going to get our brains together, and hopefully we can come up with something to use on the mindbuzz.org website. You know?
I like that.
What do you think?
I like it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, from that, anything else after that?
Oh,
great
pizza. What are you doing tonight?
Huh?
I said, what are you doing tonight?
What am I doing tonight? Oh, yeah. Good segue. Tonight is the finals for the Soy Funny competition. I had no clue that we're doing a competition.
You're just going there?
I was just going out there to hang out with some cool peeps and hopefully get a spot for the upcoming.
Sergio says, hola, hambre, and Gil.
We're not going to pay attention to the chat today. We're just not. But anyways, we got the West Coast Pop Lock podcast presents the Soy Funny live stream comedy event with Jose and Sergio El Checo. That's going down tonight. So I put the link in our link tree starts at 8 p.m. Hopefully these guys will have everything ready by 8 p.m. It should be good. Those guys at the West Coast Pop Lock podcast, you guys are members of the My Grito family. So it's really cool. So I put the link down in the show description. You're going to see live comedy from about like 6 comics, including myself. So should be a good time. Sergio says, you wanted comedy, you got comedy. Check out the West Coast Pop Lock podcast. Starts tonight, 8 p.m. The link is in the show description. Yeah. All right. So without further ado, let's get into our guest for this evening. And today, Octavio F. G. What is up, my dude? Thanks for coming out, bro.
I did, man. I did. I made it from South Lady here. Just, the 10's on fire.
Oh, I know. I saw that.
So it's all messed up.
What's going on with that?
Apparently, I guess, I don't know. What I've been reading is that's arson. I think they said...
it's arson?
That's what they said.
What?
Yeah. But apparently it's a pallet factory. So a bunch of wood just stacked up.
Oh,
caught on fire. And then, I mean, basically like started melting the concrete and steel on that bridge. So they shut it.
Usually it's something like really dumb. Like when, was it Universal Studios that caught on fire? Their archives?
Yeah.
It was like something dumb, like somebody...
Oh, you mean how it started?
How it started.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it's something.
I mean,
probably one employee out there he was getting canned, and he knew it was coming, and
or he wanted a couple days off.
He wanted a couple days off from the pallet factory,
like a cigarette on a mattress.
I don't know, something like
straight
that,
up like
right?
1950s style housewife.
Yeah.
He just walked away and threw it. That's how I imagine it.
No, but that's wild. So it's still going on?
No. It's done now, but it's just
all the cleanup and aftermath of all that.
It literally peeled. It burned the concrete off of the posts.
Jeez.
Shoot.
So they can't let cars on it. They don't know if it's it could fall.
Yeah.
So they got to rebuild. I don't know if they're going to rebuild it or what they're going to do. They said
karma.
like 6 weeks. Yeah. LA is going through it just like everywhere else.
I just learned about the 10 freeway and how before they built the 10 freeway like in the 50s.
Uh-huh.
And they demolished like hundreds of homes of like black neighborhoods.
Yep, well to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's I was reading about that and they said that it's actually a big thing where it basically segregated the city.
Mm-hmm.
Before there wasn't really a divide of so much of North LA, Central LA, South LA, it was just kind of just Los Angeles. And with the 10, it really split kind of like railroad tracks. So south of the 10 was predominantly black neighborhoods and north of it was not. And before that, it was a very affluent area. And with the freeway going through there, it cut off cross traffic because then it becomes just exits, right? So it slows down people going back and forth. It made it more of a divide.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's why I said it's karma.
It's for them
For
building
the 10
it?
freeway.
For the
It wasn't supposed to be there, so now.
The 10 as a person.
Yeah.
Oh,
The 10 freeway.
that's terrible.
The 10 freeway is an asshole. The I-5 is not.
The 710 is great.
Yeah.
The 710. The 210 is nice too. I like the 210.
Oh, yeah.
Who was first, the 210 or the 10? Was it?
The Wait. Is the 210 go through Pasadena, Highland Park?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Route 66.
Yeah, Route 66.
Yeah.
Okay.
That freeway is scary as hell. So I don't know, when they made it, that freeway you're only supposed to go 50 miles an hour max.
It's the one that's
Now we're going
like
80 miles an hour. It's like
right
a
through
NASCAR
houses,
track.
right?
Dude, I've noticed
Yeah.
that even in residential areas, people are driving fucking crazy right now. I have no clue what it is. It's in the water. It's probably in the oxygen or something. People are just
You're
crazy.
just old now. You're an old
Is it
man.
that?
Yeah, my wife
Is
just
it?
doesn't. My wife doesn't like driving between like 2 and 5. 2 and 6. It just gets crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People come from work and driving. Everyone's all impatient. Everyone's pissed off, and it turns into a whole different style of driving.
Yeah. What is it? The bit from George Carlin, anybody that's driving faster than you is crazy, but anybody driving slower than you is
It's true.
Is I don't know, I fucked it up, but anybody driving slower than you is an idiot, but anybody driving faster than you is a maniac.
Yeah.
Is basically what
That's
he's
basically
saying.
how it feels. Yeah. Anyone who gets in your way, idiot.
Yeah.
What are you doing? It's so true. That's what I felt. That's what I felt coming here.
Yeah.
Just the freeway, and then you start slowing down. It just feels as if everyone's
But-
purposely in your way.
Yeah.
But there's nothing like I can't pinpoint the what it's called, but on your way to Arizona, there's that freeway, the freeway that we kept getting honked at, and the guy.
It's the 10 too.
Is it the 10? But
Yeah,
it's a 10 going to Arizona,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
people are like,
the 10 goes all the way to like the other side of the country. It goes through Texas and everything.
people are going like 100 miles an hour, and
Oh,
if
yeah.
you're not,
Yeah.
we're going like at speed limit, a little higher than speed limit, and we thought we were going good, and
No, Arizona and Texas drives. They're crazy.
they were like flipping us off,
Yeah.
honking at us,
Yeah.
and I'm like, is something hanging out of our back? Like,
But you know what it was? We had a target on our car anyways because we have our California license plate.
Yeah.
true.
Oh yeah.
And I'm pretty sure
They know
that
for sure.
they thought our car was like an electric car or something because of how slow we're going and how small it is. These guys were saying, you look at these freaking
That
Californians.
car is ran on marijuana. I know it. It's ran on marijuana and good feelings.
Marijuana, good vibes,
Yeah.
and recycled plastic.
Yeah, exactly. Arizona's very aware
As
of
we're
being
eating our
Arizona.
granola bars.
As we're eating our vegan granola bars in our Starbucks.
Yeah, exactly.
no
Right.
Starbucks.
That happened to us too. Like when my older band, we used to tour around, and every time we'd go through Texas, we'd always get pulled over. Every time, California plates,
Yeah.
van driving, especially when I was driving. 'Cause I don't know why. One time we got pulled over, and the cop says, first question is do you have any guns in the car? I was like, no, not at all. He's okay. Well, get out of the car, and he says, I said, well, I just asked him, why you pulling me over? And he said, this is the first time I heard this. He says, well, your right tire was touching the white line, on the side of the road.
What?
So basically, it's like little things like that would happen all the time just to kind of try to get something that happened. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, oh, we caught this, we caught that, we caught this. But
Dang.
luckily, no. But that always happened almost 100% of the time in Texas and Arizona as well.
Dang.
Just not like here.
Is Texas the furthest you've played?
No. I've been around the country.
Really?
Yeah, so like the East Coast, West Coast, the South, the North, not too much. I mean, North
So tell us what you do.
Through
Tell,
it
tell our
all.
listeners what you do, Octavio.
on my part time or just. What do you do? What would you say you do? Musician, songwriter, singer. Been in bands band in college, and then from there I went to school at UC Davis up north, and then moved to the Bay Area, where I got in a band, started a band called the Soft White 60s in San Francisco and Oakland, and then that went for a while, and that's the band that we toured all over the place in the country, and then after that we moved down to Los Angeles in I think 2016. Yeah, 2016, 2015, around there. And then been down here ever since and just been doing my kind of solo music since then. So that's what brought me here and everything. And then my wife's on here, had a baby down here. Well, no, my baby was born in Vancouver. But yeah, so that brought me down here.
So you're originally from up north?
Yeah. Near Sacramento,
Oh, okay.
a town called Woodland. Tiny little
Woodland.
town. Actually, it's like, little town off the freeway, all agricultural fields.
Okay. Something like Chino then.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, 'cause I was just gonna say that. Exactly, yeah. Exactly the same. So it's funny, if you drive east of Los Angeles, it starts feeling more like that.
Yeah.
Exactly, kind of everything more spread out.
Yeah, California has everything. Like in the spot that we're at,
Mm-hmm.
we go 30 minutes west, we hit downtown LA, but you go east and we hit mountains and
Where you guys are
Wildlife.
especially.
yeah.
Chino, But I mean, for where I am in South LA, I mean, same thing. It's at the ocean.
Yeah,
is,
exactly.
15 minutes that way west, and then 45 minutes, 50 minutes, and then your mountains, and that's California, huh? All the way up and down the coast.
You can
Yeah.
go to the desert.
Yeah,
We have everything.
I've talked to people, it's like, oh, California. I said, man, trust me. Go drive around. go to other states. Go check it out. And I'm not saying other states have great things, anything, but there's nothing close at all.
No.
As far as food goes, as far as climate goes, as far as what you can do on the weekends, what's available. I mean, it's not even not close at all.
There's nothing close to it.
No.
We're paying for luxury.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're like, well, it's like, why is rent so expensive here? It's like, well, I mean, have you been around? It's like anywhere.
It's even like
pay to get in.
Yeah.
When
Right?
people complain about like homelessness.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like, well, if I was homeless, like, of course I don't want to be in California. It's fucking warm. I can go and be by the beach.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna be homeless in the Midwest when it's like, snowing.
Well, I think that's why that California has such an influx of unhoused because of the environment.
I think so. I also think that, I don't know. Well, the weird thing is when I was living in Vancouver, Canada, I realized that they're one of the first cities, or what are they? Their provinces that legalized fentanyl.
Oh, sure.
So,
Whoa, when was this?
it's a while back.
Yeah.
A while back, I don't know exactly, but I know that it was in a way to wean people off heroin, but then people are then you can become dependent on fentanyl, right?
Yeah.
So there's an area in Vancouver. Vancouver's immaculate. I mean, it's almost too clean. Like it's kind of, it's immaculate. It's
Strangely
it's
clean.
a beautiful city.
Uh-huh.
But there's one part of town called Gastown, and you go down there, and they contain it, kind of like the Tenderloin in San Francisco.
Okay, yeah.
Like Skid Row.
Where we stayed.
Yeah.
Wait, you guys stayed in Tenderloin?
I booked a hotel on
Amber
accident.
is out, the Mind Buzz travel agent.
How about the Tenderloin?
I didn't
sounds
know.
nice.
I didn't. It sounded like a good piece of meat. So I was like,
Holiday in Tenderloin.
No, it was a really nice hotel. Like, it was not cheap to stay there. It was not.
That city's not cheap in general to stay in
Yeah.
at all.
So I was like,
no
this
way.
is nice.
Your car get broken into? No.
No,
we
paid.
Yeah, we forked up the cash to
you
have it stored in a parking structure.
But we didn't go anywhere. We went from there to our
Yeah.
car, and then we went to the rest of the city. But
Yeah,
we
I
didn't.
mean, we stopped by a liquor store that was on the corner, but
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, that
about
was
it.
it. That was it. And daylight.
And then I started like looking up the Tenderloin, and I was like, oh my God, Gilbert. I was like,
It's got a history.
where? But see, I grew up in Paramount next to Compton, so I was like, all right.
Yeah, it's a little different though, because
It is a little different,
And I'll say that
but-
too, because even in Vancouver is that when people are on fentanyl, and I think you kind of get the zombie feeling. There's this kind of like someone's a crack. So they're moving around, they're pacing, but they're like working. They're like they got to get things done. They're moving. They're like they don't want nothing to do with you. They're like trying to find something. They're working. They're moving around, but heroin, they're just like frozen, and it's kind of zombie apocalyptic like.
Yeah.
So it's a different feeling.
Any type of opiate, right? That would do
they're
that
just-
to a person.
They're just sitting there. I told my wife that I was driving, and it's like you see someone kind of curled up, kind of like, how it looks like they're being held up like a string. Like, how's that person
makes
standing?
sense.
And I think to myself, I'm like, how good does that feel? What are they feeling right now? And I bet you it's completely opposite of what it looks like,
Yeah.
because they're completely comfortable in that moment.
That's true.
You know what I mean? They're just sitting there. They're just like, ooh. I was like, it looks horrible. And it's just, but they definitely look more comfortable than someone like a crackhead just pacing around,
Yeah.
and jittery and looking around and searching and looking frantic. It's like they're just happy standing in that one spot.
Yeah. I wonder how that
What's
that
going
feels.
through their mind?
Yeah. What
In their mind,
what
they're
they're
like
feeling, what's going on.
in a field of daisies. And
I mean, it's
the
gotta feel great.
sky is great, and then right there, they're just like hunched over.
It's
You're
worth
right.
a lot to people, So
Yeah.
it's like, it's gotta be, it's
like
not-
how can one person, like, how good can it be, right? Like how great can it feel when you
yeah.
when you're able to give up your entire life, your identity,
saying.
your being
Everything
for this,
for that.
for that substance.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's wild. I mean, the power of it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's like just it's like you just spend your life on quests,
Yeah.
just to achieve the next one, and you get it. It's like bing, your meter goes up, you're full, and then you have to spend the next few days like on side quests trying to find more things and more things so you can accumulate it again and go again and go again.
Well, I wonder what, like, if fentanyl is the same thing like any other drug, because you know how what they say about when you first try a drug, like the first time, you're always trying to reach that first time you've ever felt it.
Right.
Like with fentanyl, is it like every time is like that? Or is it the same concept? You're trying to get that
I
first.
know I feel like, I mean, from what I've read, is that that's how a lot of people overdose if they haven't done it for a while, when they relapse, because they go to their old dose and their body can't handle it anymore.
Yeah.
So it is you do build a tolerance to it. So you need more. I mean, just look at anything. Drinking's the same thing.
Right.
True.
It's like before, it goes up, then it goes up, then it goes up. And then I think that's why a lot of people try to do the same thing they used to do. And just, it's way too much.
Yeah.
Way too much. And I guess fentanyl is even stronger. It's so, synthetic, I guess.
So right now, Vancouver has all drugs decriminalized, right?
I don't know.
Can you look it up, Amber?
Sure.
When we were there, I know you could.
How long ago was this, by the way?
This was
Octavia?
a year and a half. My daughter's born, so a year and a half ago. And
so this is recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So through the pandemic, prior to all that, yeah, we're up there. My wife was filming a show, and so we all moved up there, and we were there for she was there for 4 years, and we were there all together like 2 years because the borders started closing. So it was like, look, if you don't come up here, you might not be able to get up. And good thing I did, because they did close the borders and it got really strict.
What does it say? Health Canada granted an exception under the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act to provide to the province.
Yeah,
of
see, so it's just a
BC.
fine. It doesn't go on your record or anything. It's like a citation.
So from January 31st, 2023 until January 31st, 2026, adults in BC are not subject to criminal charges for personal possession of small amounts of certain illegal drugs.
Yeah, and I know they just
So it's decriminalized.
Yeah,
basically.
and I know they for sure, kind of the same way marijuana exists in California.
Right.
Right? Is it legal on a federal level? No, but state level.
Yeah.
And they have. I know they legalize psilocybin.
Certain cities in California.
Yeah, in Vancouver, you can walk right in.
Really?
Yeah, buy a mushroom like you can buy a cookie.
They have mushroom
Yeah,
spots in Vancouver? That is crazy.
Yeah, it's incredible. You
It's
can buy
probably
like chocolates,
That's cool. I think the kind of also the thinking behind it is like Italy, right? Where they were saying like Italy has a really low like percentage of people that are alcoholics, even though you think like, oh, Italians drink wine, but they're saying that there's a low percentage of in youth. Okay, let me reiterate.
Yeah.
Youth, because the youth get to drink. I think the drinking age is like 15, and they make it so like non-taboo within families, within the culture. You can serve your 15-year-old a glass of wine with their dinner, so they start normalizing it in a sense of not binging. It's more of a I'm gonna enjoy it. It's gonna be with family. It's gonna be things like that.
It's not hidden.
Yeah.
So it's not something you gotta wait to do this. You can't handle it.
So then they don't binge and they don't become these raging alcoholics because it's never been like taboo or stopped or looked down on. So maybe that what Canada's doing is trying to decriminalize it so that it doesn't become this like, let me get it because it's wrong.
Well, I think they're trying to also, realize that, okay, if you're doing this, there's some other stuff going on.
Yeah.
So let's try to figure that out. Like putting you in jail is not going to fix anything.
No.
If anything, you're going to come out with more of a habit.
Right.
So it's, but again, people forget that Vancouver population is tiny compared to like something like Los Angeles. Yeah. So when people say, well, Vancouver, this works, it's like, there's not that many people there. It's completely different. You know what I mean? You try to keep what's in Los Angeles, how many million people? 9 million? 10 million people? I mean, Vancouver is tiny compared to that. So you look at their programs and you're like, oh, we should try that here. The amount of money and not that, just like the amount of people that Los Angeles has to work with, it's incredible. And that's another thing. Like if you drive around the country, very few people in this country know how big Los Angeles really is. It's huge. It's huge, man. It's so big. It goes forever. It goes forever.
Yeah.
You can see it when you fly in. It's just all gridded out and just tons. Like I just picture my little house down there.
Yeah.
Like, man, nothing down there.
What is the population of Los Angeles? Can you look that up?
I say 9.
You said so. Your bid was 9 million.
Yeah, I thought it was. Maybe I'm way off.
Population. Oh, that's Canada's 38 population.
No, see, I was way off.
3.8.
Okay, so
3.8.
3.9
It's about
million.
4 million.
Okay, so 4 million, right?
But this is 2021.
Okay, so maybe.
Okay, hold on. We had some people come in 2023.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
a
so
little bit.
almost 4 million, right? Okay, so 4 million.
And then you said
4 million in like 2 years? That's crazy.
Look, Vancouver.
And Vancouver?
So we got 4 million.
192.
That's Washington. There's another one up there.
okay,
Do
yeah,
Vancouver, BC.
Let me see.
British Columbia.
Yeah.
Right here.
Good food up there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, look, 600,000.
No, that's 2017. Why is it giving me dates that are not?
Your prior searches.
There you go. 2 million. The current
2
metro.
million.
Oh man, see, it blew up.
Yeah, it says that it had a increase since 2022. Yeah, that's a
big jump.
huge jump.
It's a big increase.
How do they
dude.
do that? It doesn't even feel like there's that many people there. At 6 o'clock at night, it's so quiet there.
Really?
Yeah.
It's probably the culture too.
I was going
like
crazy.
The people living there.
Oh man.
What was the nightlife
Not
like?
my vibe.
No.
No, man. No. It's a town of, beautiful. But if your nightlife's your thing, you probably have one night Saturday.
Really?
Yeah. And even that, it's just, there's one little street where they have some clubs that goes late to like 4 a.m. They serve alcohol till about 2 a.m. But they stay open till 4. But that's a very small little portion, because there's a university there, UBC. But look at it. It looks like when you're there, you feel like you're in Minority Report.
Why is that?
Because it's just like when you're in these little condos and up there, you just feel it's all glass, and it's like a big fish tank. You just feel like something's gonna fly by your window. It's so futuristic feeling.
Okay.
I'm selling it, huh?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you want to go to the future?
I'm buying my
Vancouver.
I'm buying my tickets tonight, dude.
No, it is. It just wasn't for me in the sense. The food's incredible. The chicken is like that's the funny thing. You go up there and you realize the difference in certification for foods here. You know what I mean? It looks different there. The carrots aren't huge. The chickens aren't like huge chicken breasts. It's like you realize like what's modified and what's not because they have stricter codes.
Okay, I see.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you go to a store, you're like, oh wow. Oh,
These are the real size of chickens.
Yeah. Like I could see this alive.
Yeah.
Some of them with Foster Farm chicken, big old 2-pound breasts.
Big 2-pound breast.
Yeah, that chicken's not walking
Big old
anywhere.
thighs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Carrots. Yeah. Regular sized carrots. Okay.
Yeah, everything. So, but it's beautiful. But the hard part for me being in music up there was that I would try to find shows and you really have about one day a week where that's happening. So,
Oh, sure.
you know, in LA, same thing, you know, there's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you know, and each night has its own thing, you know, and it's up there. It was hard because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, it's so quiet. So I'd get kind of just crazy at night. Like it'd be 6 p.m., 7 p.m. and then it's just quiet.
How was the saturation of like artists up in Vancouver?
There's a good amount there.
It was a good amount
from what I could tell, but it was just, you know, the hard part was it was hard to meet people there, because as a culture itself, and I've heard this from other Canadians, that as a culture it's more standoffish than the East Coast. So people are like, oh, if you go to Toronto, if you go to Montreal, it's like it's a whole different vibe because the influx of the kind of immigrants that they have there compared to the West Coast, it's different culturally. You know, so it's a big difference in their, like, oh no, like nightlife, music, does that, like on the East Coast is a lot different. But it just, I guess you could find some artists out there. I had a hard time finding it. I couldn't figure it out. Couldn't, you know, like, you want to do something in LA any night, you can find it.
Yeah.
Easily.
We're spoiled, see?
Yeah. You know, there's not many cities like that.
No, not even the next county. Like right now we're in SB County. Right. And even around here, people are going
crazy out here.
People are going to downtown LA.
Yeah.
Like it's,
you have to. Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. But pretty fortunate, you know. It depends what you want to do. That's why for me, where I got into music up north, the closest city to me was 90 miles away, and that was San Francisco and Oakland. So it was either that or Sacramento. And at that time, Sacramento had a good music. They went through waves. In like the early 90s, Sacramento had a big music scene. But then when I was getting into music, starting into music, I moved to the Bay Area because that was kind of like the closest area where, you know, shows were happening Monday, 7 days a week.
What was San Francisco like in the 90s, dude?
Well, I wasn't there in the 90s,
no?
But I moved to San Francisco in 2009, 2010.
It's got to be different than now, right?
No, everyone I talked to, though, that was from San Francisco, they loved it in the 90s. That's when it probably had more music venues than anything. Yeah. Tons of DJs, tons of music. I think when I was there, our band kind of jumped ship right before like the tech thing fell out and like how it is right now. Right now it's sad to see. It's weird. It's weird how, all the places that have shut down, all the venues that have shut down. A lot of people have left, you know, because after the work from home thing for all the tech world, a lot of those people didn't come back.
Really?
Yeah, they just stayed. You know, if you can work from home, you might as well move to another little city that your money goes further.
Yeah. Or move like to Mexico or something like that.
Exactly. If you could do whatever you
right
want.
over the border.
Yeah. So it's like I feel like you guys went to the only part of the city that wasn't affected was the Tenderloin.
Right. That stayed the same.
Impervious to change. The Tenderloin. I feel that's what they.
You guys ever need a booking agent? I got a good one over here.
There
for
it is. The Tenderloin.
But we made it.
Yeah,
we made it.
Everything spins around the Tenderloin. It just stays.
It was nice.
Yeah, those guys they can put up with anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So your music, man, like we were watching one of your videos before you got in, and
it's so cool.
It's really
Thank
good.
you.
You're a very good musician.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Very good artist. Do you like being called a musician, an artist? Like what? Tell me about that. What do you think you are?
I think artist is a better word when someone else uses it. But to call yourself an artist, I think it always has some kind of pretentiousness to it. You know,
okay. I'm an artist.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, because I think, to me, there's a lot of people that are artists. I think people that cook and that chefs are artists.
Yeah.
You know, some things that you're working with that's constantly evolving and changing, and you can shape it, and you kind of have to decide when it's done. You know, it's like, when is it done? When do you stop adding things? When do you stop doing it? Because it's your perception of what you think is good. It's like, oh no, this is how I like it.
Well, your perception of good for your music is fucking fantastic.
Thank you. You know, I guess that's developing over time, you know, of what I think is good.
What was your first instrument that you picked up?
my mom enrolled my brother and I in piano, which I did not like at all. It was horrible. I did not like it at all. My brother was very good at it.
Is your brother still in music?
No, he went completely different. He's an athlete, engineer. Now he's like a CEO.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So it's interesting is that he really took the piano and he did it well. And I liked music, but the thing is I didn't like about the lessons was how rigid it was. You know what I mean? It just wasn't fun. It was so strict.
It was work.
Yeah.
It was work.
And I think, honestly, it was the type of teaching, teaching changes over time. You know, how I introduce an instrument to a child depends on whether, they might take to it, as opposed to, no, you do this, or no, just bang the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, okay. This is it. Yes. So I took, and then I started playing guitar. That was it first. And I started playing guitar so I could sing. I always just liked singing. So I was like, well, my dad had a guitar. And so I would play, he would play, I remember he'd play like Richie Valens songs on it, some doo-wop songs. He knew 4 chords. So every song you played was with
those 4 chords.
And one time I was like, Papi, I was like, why is every song you play with those chords? He goes, Mijo, I didn't write the songs. He's all, that's just how they are, Mijo. He's like, you could ask me about this. He's all, I'm just playing them. I was like, all right, fine. Because I wanted to learn other chords, and I was like, they're all the same. He's like, don't get mad at me. Get mad at Richie Valens. I didn't write them. So that's how that started. And then just that kind of took. And it just, when I went to college, I started a band almost immediately. A friend of mine now one of my good friends, lived down the hall from me, and I walked by his room, and he had a guitar in his room. And I asked him, I was like, well, you want to like play guitar together? And he's like, yeah. And so I just started writing songs, and we started open mics. And then that happened, that started a band. And then from there, I went to the Bay Area to get.
What year was this?
Shit, I was in college, 2002. I was in college for 6 years.
Okay.
Took a little bit for me.
Yeah, I'm still in college. I'm still going through it.
You're a couple feet in front of us, so you're good.
Yeah, no, I was there, and it's so 2002, 2003, and then I was 6, 7, 8. It's 2008. Graduated or 2009. Took me a while because I remember I got booted out of college for a quarter because I went on academic probation twice. Mm-hmm. And they had to send me an email saying, if you don't respond to this email, we're going to disenroll you, which I didn't get. So I was in class, and this is how much I wasn't taking it seriously at the time. I was in a class that I found out was the second time I'd taken it. I was doing the work, and I was like, man, I just know this stuff. So I go online and I go, wait, I've taken this class before. And so I go online and check my grade, and there's no classes listed on the site. I'm like, what? Nothing listed. Now, mind you, I'd been going this quarter for like 3 weeks, right? 4 weeks. And so I go to my counselor. They're like, no, like you didn't respond to the email. So we disenrolled you. It's like, so. Oh, but it was good it happened, because then after that I was like, okay, you got to decide whether you're going to finish or not.
Yeah.
And then after that I finished.
So when you first started your first band in college, what were some of your inspirations? Like, what was going on musically at that time? Like for you and your group?
In college I got into I got really classic kind of college thing, got into like big singer-songwriters. I was listening to Nick Drake. I was listening to Ryan Adams. I was listening to M. Ward. A lot of, just kind of acoustic, intimate kind of folk, I guess, indie folk kind of stuff. And then I was also, at the same time, I got really into Oasis. Rock and roll band. And
I was just listening to their Morning Glory album.
Yeah, the album Morning Glory?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing.
The first 2 albums, 3 albums they have are incredible. They're great. And so I went down a huge hole of Oasis, a big hole of James Brown, There's a few artists where I really went, or I listened to them and then I went backwards. You know what I mean? So it's like some artists I'll listen to.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Walk me through that.
Like if so I would hear. So take Oasis. So I hear Wonderwall. I hear the songs everybody hears. Wonderwall, Don't Look Back in Anger. I hear these songs. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Then I see them, pictures of them, I'm like, oh, this is cool. And I liked how honest they were, brash. They weren't afraid to say they didn't like anything, which I thought was, oh, that's great. Because what's funny is you get behind closed doors and bands talk like that. But when you get out in the open, bands just like, oh no, they're cool. And you get behind doors, and some bands are like, oh, fucking band sucks.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like you do have opinions.
Yeah.
Everybody does. It's not like you're guilty of anything. But what I'm saying, when I got into them, then I found like, oh, so the guitarist Noel Gallagher was a big fan of the Smiths because he liked Johnny Marr. So then I got into the Smiths and then Johnny Marr, and then I found out, okay, now that also takes you to the Stone Roses, and then Stone Roses. So you find out their band and then the band that they're influenced by, and you start listening to that band, and you find out that band and find out what they're influenced by, and it goes backwards.
Oh, okay,
you get
that's what you mean by going backwards.
Yeah. So it's like I got into James Brown. And then James Brown, not going backwards, but I mean, he leads to all these other people, like Bootsy Collins, Catfish, these bass players, Jimi Hendrix, then Little Richard, I'm just saying all these artists are like kind of trees.
Yeah.
And there's some artists that were big trees in my life where they kind of they're the parts and I found little things off them. So like Oasis, James Brown, not Sam Cooke. Is it Sam Cooke? Yeah, Sam Cooke. I got into for a while. Smokey Robinson's another one that I love. They kind of lead you into other things.
Yeah.
Because I start reading about them and I find out, oh, they're really into this.
Oh, yeah. This person was influenced by this person. This person was influenced by this person. Wait, this song is it's a cover. So let me go back and see who the original person that's in this song.
Exactly. And what the cool part about that is that what's interesting is I find that if you go backwards with an artist, it makes them a little bit more human because you can see where they pulled from. You can see where they got that inflection from, or you can see where they got, and you realize like, oh, like everybody does that. Along the way, you just collect things.
Yeah.
But I'm saying
you get influence.
Yes, exactly. So I really like when I find artists I really like. I enjoy finding their influences. Because it's I'm like, oh, well, that's cool. They picked that out of there, or they picked that out of there. Once you find the influence, you listen, it's like, oh my God, that song completely takes that. So that's what I mean by like going backwards.
Oh,
so there's a few people.
Good concept.
A few people like that I would get into, and I'd imagine with comedy, same thing, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Who would be your comedians? You kind of like.
Right now, I'm very into Rodney Dangerfield right now.
Oh,
and
really?
He's a branch. He's one of the major brands.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right.
I think it's his style, his setup punch, one-liner comics are that's what I'm.
So would you say Mitch Hedberg's off that tree too?
Probably.
Right.
Yeah.
Mitch Hedberg's on there. No, because I think that
like I'm going backwards too. Same thing. Like with the Sam Kinison and all those guys like back in the early days.
Hollywood Comedy Store scene.
Yeah.
I just watched, I don't know if you see it, it's, I watch a lot of documentaries.
Okay.
And a lot of them musicians or artists, painters and there's I watch a lot of them on comedians. And it's interesting how a lot of those comedians that I found, like it all kind of goes back to like Los Angeles Comedy Store.
Yeah.
Which I know was weird to think that they all kind of went through there somehow through all
Everybody did. Roseanne went there. What was the other one that we were just watching?
That's so weird. That's not with music.
No?
Not
you
like,
don't think so?
Not like a venue where it's like, oh man.
Oh, like a venue, like a one place that people went to.
I wish that you could go because it'd be cool to be, in a place where, that there's so many bands that are there, even if they're not playing, they're just hanging around.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's maybe at times, I guess that's how you describe a scene.
Yeah, like a place that everybody goes hang. Because that's like at least what I'm very fairly new
Right.
to the comedy scene right now. Fairly new.
How long would you say you've been doing comedy?
What would you say, Amber? What, like, if you were to judge and somebody asked you, how long has Gil been doing comedy? What would you tell them?
Like real comedy? No, I'm just kidding.
Real comedy? No years.
0.
Are we talking real comedy or fake comedy? Which one is it? Which one?
Sorry,
what are you talking about?
I gave her the setup, so it's fine.
Well,
I'm glad you took
hold
it.
Hold on. Let me phrase this way. When was the first time that you knew you were going to do comedy? You picked a date you're going to do it. You prepped, and you were ready to go for that.
I was
There you
kind
go.
of thrown. What, like 2 months ago? When did?
I would say maybe in total, like that it was like
2
brewing
months.
and everything. No, I would say like longer than that. Maybe 6 months.
Yeah?
Because you've been talking about it. I mean, I know that you've always had the idea and you've
I've been writing for
emulated-
2 years.
Even when he was a kid, he was like funny and doing skits
so see, that's
and
different
doing
then.
stuff like that.
So you're writing prior to doing stand up.
I've wrote for about a year and a half to close to 2 years of material. I have like something like 30 pages of just material that I've wrote over.
And so are
2
most
years?
are most stuff you write, is it all very in like the Rodney Dangerfield vein where you like not saying doing the same thing, but I'm saying the same kind of quick one-liner delivery hook, punch in the next one.
So I'm figuring that out when I go on stage. Like, what am I a storyteller? Do I tell good stories? Is it just set up punches?
Right.
Like,
Right.
all that is happening on stage right now. I'm completely new at it. So even the delivery, it's changing, it's evolving. And I feel that if I keep working at it, keep working at my material, then I'm going to find what works best for me.
Right. So you're finding your voice.
I'm finding it. I'm
Right.
finding my style.
But what if, let me ask you this, what if, because this is a thing that I've experienced in music, is that what if something goes over well but doesn't feel good to you?
Yeah.
Like has anything ever landed where it landed better than you thought and you're like, I didn't think that was going to work like that? So does that convince you to do it again?
Yeah. I think so. If it works, it works. If it
Yeah,
gets a
yeah.
laugh,
Yeah.
it gets a laugh in the way that you did it. I think I'm still fairly new to where if I get a laugh, fuck yeah, that's a win.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna
fuck
try.
yeah,
I'm gonna try it the next time.
I'm
I'm gonna try it the next time.
It's so much people, even when people say, "Oh, it's a funny person," it's that it's so much different to be funny when people are expecting it
Yeah.
and paid to hear you be funny. It's different to be in a room and be spontaneous and to say something funny. That's completely different than going in a room, standing behind a microphone.
Yep.
And that's where I really do believe that, to me, that is the most courageous form of like entertainment that I think.
I agree.
There's
Okay.
nothing like you can go to open mic and you at least, physically you have a guitar on your lap. It's like you have this wall between you. You know what I mean? Even if I'm not playing, if I forgot a lyric, when I first started playing, I forgot a lyric, you just play longer.
You're gonna use those 4 chords.
You know what I mean?
Use
Yeah,
that.
I'm going into Richie Valens. And it's like, no one knows. You can kind of jam. You can keep it going a little bit. So you kind of like, okay, there I am. Whereas with comedy, is that if you stop, I mean, it's whoosh.
Yeah. Yeah, we were just talking about this last night, and then also Jose, he's the one doing the Soy Funny competition.
This one tonight in Compton.
The one tonight. It's energy. Like from what I heard from him is just it's the energy of the room that you need to hold, or you need to move it around.
Yep.
And I'm finding that now after doing going on stage for the past couple of months that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and
It's hard. It's difficult to
It's-
get people's attention and keep their attention.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. I would do the same thing with music.
You can have their attention for 2 minutes, but once you stop that energy, it
gone.
just fucking falls. And it's hard to...
You can't get it back.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I mean, you can. There's ways to do it, but your shit has to be really good.
Yeah, it's also the same thing with music. Is that I tell people, if whether you believe in, I'm not talking about crystals and flower remedies or superstition things and everything, but I'm saying if someone doesn't believe in energy, have them go in front of a room and perform.
Yep.
Oh.
I'm telling you, it is
Okay.
undeniable what you
Okay.
feel. You can feel when it's with you, and you feel that you're, it's like, oh shoot, I can't. Like, it's just, if it fires you up, you get even more energy and more freedom. And then when it's not there, you can just feel it leave, and it's like, whoosh.
Yeah. It goes quick.
Yeah, and it's like, oh,
As
no.
quick as it gets to you, it leaves. It can just leave just like that.
I've thought about the comedy, though. I'm really impressed by it. I'm really intrigued by it, because I think I also really like comedy comedians a lot too, because I think that they're people that observe a lot.
It's fun. Yeah.
But you have to observe people.
I observe, and the way that my brain is starting to work now is to always look for the funny in even though how dark a thing might be, or situation, or it. Do you have to think like there's something funny out of everything?
There is too. There is.
And there is.
There really is. I mean,
You just got to find it.
yeah, it is interesting how even with something traumatic or something happens, in a few years or years later, you can joke about it and you can laugh about it because you find things in it that are funny.
Yeah.
And I feel that, I guess, comedians can have the ability to get to that point quick.
Yeah.
Kind of find it very fast. Have you seen that video? There's a video of Ralphie May doing he gives kind of a lecture. I would call it a lecture because he's not doing stand-up. He's lecturing on stand-up at the Comedy Store. It's on YouTube.
I think I watched it. It's like Ralphie May's like mastering
something like that.
stand-up.
Yeah, just randomly.
Yeah.
It was cool for me to hear him talk, because I just thought, not even doing not being a comedian, but I just like to understand people's process.
Yeah.
And it is interesting. It's very similar to music too. It's like you do have to learn how to get a room, keep a room, work room, and develop an arc.
Yeah.
A live show is. A live show's that. You know what I mean? It's not fragmented. Like, you may be there may be 10, 11 songs on the set, but as a whole, it's one piece.
Yeah. And it's very choreographed. It's very and this is what I'm starting to learn now. It's very choreographed. Your material is choreographed, but you have to make it look like it's not. Like you're
Sometimes I think about that. I think about that when I watch
Right?
when I watch some people's sets. It's like, wait, because I've seen interviews with comedians, and I guess it's similar with, I'm trying to transfer to like music as well with lyrics, is that you can fuss over what the last word you're going to say is, right? What makes it funnier.
right.
And to remember that, like, oh no, well, I said this the other night. I'd imagine with comedy, it's like, okay, try that again. And
Yeah.
it's weird to watch a comedian night. Sometimes I think about, I was like, wait, is that pause planned?
Right.
Is that part of the joke? Like, does the
It's-
joke work without the pause?
But it shouldn't.
That's what I mean. That's weird to me to think. It's a performance. They're literally the pauses are there. It's so hard.
And
it's
But I
it's
think
crazy.
I'm in awe of it.
Performing
it's so
in
impressive.
general, like I can't even think of myself going, and performing anything, but performing in general, I think it's like, it's beautiful because there's this art of vulnerability, whether you do music, whether you're an actual, painting artist, you're someone sculpting, you're, a comedian, whether you're doing like a live cooking show, anything that, we would deem as art, it's being vulnerable. It's showing who you are in a sense through your art, and then to still want people to reciprocate to that, it's hard. Like, I can't imagine doing it.
It's also hard too, because really what you're doing is basically saying you're giving it to people to judge it.
yeah.
Right? I mean, that's what comedy is. You're immediately being judged.
Yeah.
Laugh or no laugh. Like, that's pretty direct feedback. You know what I mean? Like, if that works or not, it's immediate feedback. At least with music, I could make an album or a song, put it out, and I'm not necessarily in the room as everybody's listening to it. You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? It'd be different. It's every person that would hear my music would be, the equivalent would be me being in the room, like playing it for them and just watching their reaction. You know, with comedy,
see that.
you're there. You're
and the thing is, you have to be there.
Yeah,
you
that's what it
have
is.
to do it. So when you go on stage, right, you have to do it on stage. Like, there's no stand-up comedy without going in front of a crowd.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
You can't do stand-up comedy on a podcast. I mean, you can. I mean, basically, that's what we're gonna do tonight.
Right.
But consistently, like, you can't be a stand-up comedy while on a podcast, if that makes sense.
I think that's.
You know what I mean?
But I think that's where the comedy world, in a way, is kind of like finding its floor.
Yeah.
In that, because now you have people coming from podcasts that now build a following, do well, that I feel like then go live, right?
True.
As opposed to people starting.
That's actually happening a lot, right, Amber? That's happening a lot with influencers, like with Instagram influencers, YouTubers.
Yeah, they kind of
do
build
skits.
something first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've been building it for over a decade, and they go into stand-up comedy.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Because they just post funny videos and it works and it works and it works. And they're
Right.
like, oh, I'll do this more of this.
Yeah, but it's so different. Like, it's so, you can't, like, sketch comedy is sketch comedy versus stand-up comedy.
Right.
Because improv is totally different. Like, improv comedy is different from stand-up. Like, there's no crutch when you're on the stage by yourself versus when you have a full improv team or a sketch team.
And I've talked to this about some of my friends. I've talked about this because with music, and I think it's interesting, especially with TikTok, is that it's different to put something out there when you've curated it and made it exactly how you want it to be, and then send it out, as opposed to what you're doing. Stand-up comedy is that it's in the moment, it's happening live. You can't be like, hold on, let me do that over again.
Right.
You know what I mean? Hold on. Let me put a different filter on. Let me figure this out real quick.
Yeah.
You know, it's in. What's interesting is that I do think, I wonder sometimes, is that which people would continue pursuing a type of art if they had to go into a room and do it that way, as opposed to curating an online persona and curating what you're doing and curating what people are seeing, right? So it's easier to paint a picture. You know,
Right.
like, okay, here's this thing, here's this bit, as opposed to, would you go to open mics and do that and come up doing that? Being in a room of people that don't give a shit? Like,
Right.
would you still go home and want to do it? You know, or would you go in a room? Like, I remember going to open mics and no one listening. You know, but that it's like, okay, well, I got to figure this out. You know, okay, people listen to this. Okay, figure it out. But if I were just posting a video online, all I would see is the likes and not people turning their back to me.
That makes sense.
You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
You know, it's like, and I really do think that seeing people turn their back, seeing people get not engaged, makes you perform better and actually makes you figure it out.
Do you figure it out faster?
I think you have to.
Yeah.
I think so. What also too is that, I mean, that was the rush. That is
Yeah.
the rush.
It is.
Like, I remember what was weird is that one of my friends, I have some videos on TikTok and I was like, oh, okay. You know, it works. Like, that's pure, like, it works. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I start posting a few videos on TikTok and it just felt so different and empty to me compared to, because I came from when I would share something and it'd be live. So I have that frame of reference. So I was trying to get that feeling from recording and it wasn't even close. You know, I'm in my room by myself, like setting the light up, singing songs. Oh, then I go back and do it again, then do it again. And then you look through it, choose this, okay, I'll put that up. And then you wait.
Yeah.
You know, it just wasn't, I didn't find myself, whereas opposed to, I remember when I first started open mics, I couldn't wait to do the next one.
Yeah.
Even
That's how it feels now.
Yes.
Like we're changing our whole schedule, at least with the podcast, to have time for open mics because you need it.
Yeah.
I figured out you need that environment to
It's a
thrive,
drug, though,
to
dude. It's
learn.
the best. I loved it. I tell people too, it's like now, you know, because I started with open mics, I mean, years ago. It's like when I first got into college, because I would have songs and it's like, well, I want to play them. So what can I do? You know, so I would start doing those. And what's interesting to me is like, that was the first time where I felt that rush. And I thought to myself, oh man, this is so good. This is so good. Even if it went bad, I remember my hands shaking. I remember being so nervous. I remember my hands getting sweaty. I remember forgetting lyrics that I wrote. I remember, oh shit, I don't know, where does this chord go? And it's stuff, but the thing when you got done,
it felt so good.
You're like, oh man,
Yeah.
it's like,
When's the next time?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Because there's something different about getting pushed over and being like, okay, here we go. You got to figure it out. You got 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, you got 2 songs. Figure it out. Do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what kept me going. Then when it gets in a band, it's the same thing, but it's like, it's different. I really do think that it was, to me, doing open mics by myself, acoustic, was much harder than playing a room sold out with people that like your music. You know what I mean? Nerve-wise. It's a different kind of nervousness.
Well, that too, and it's your confidence. Like, you can't fake that.
No.
You can't.
I think you just
And your comfortability, you have to go up there and make it seem like you're not uncomfortable. You have to memorize your material.
which I think comes from doing it over and over. Because I mean, for me too, it's the same stuff. It's like being comfortable on stage is just, you just get comfortable by shit not working.
Yeah.
By microphones going out, the guitar doing that. I've fallen on stage, tripped on stage.
Dang.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like, and it embarrasses you because you have this facade of, oh, look at this. I'm doing this so good, and then I tripped. It's like,
shit.
Oh, there went everything. You know what I mean? Like all the credibility build up.
Even last night, it was different because usually for the past month and a half, I've been on a stage with a big spotlight, totally different than just standing in front, standing at a restaurant with no stage. There's close to no space on the ground to walk around.
You're saying when you're performing.
When I'm performing.
Yeah.
Right? It was totally different, a total different vibe. Because you memorize your beats and you memorize your material and the different words, and you're walking around. You have this rhythm that you're in. Last night wasn't like that. Like
because of why? Because environment changed.
Because it was environment changed.
Were you on a stage? No.
I'm used to doing it on a stage.
Right.
But last night was different because there was no stage.
Right.
I was trying to work out the set list that I'm going to do tonight to see how it's going to hit. And it was different. Like those little nuances you have to remember.
Which
like whatever place you're at.
They make you get better.
Yeah.
They really do. They really do. I think that's
each environmental change. Like even if you're in a huge hall, right? If you're in a big hall and there's echoing, like you have to get used to that.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Things sound bigger. Yeah, I think. Well,
if you're outside, totally different.
Outside's hard,
is it?
Even for music, I think it is. It's a thing to get used to.
With no monitors. Imagine you have no monitors. It's just the sound going into the audience. And
I think about that in the '60s. 60s, 70s bands would play, and there was no monitors, so it was just going out. And they still sounded great. Shows you how good they were. But what's interesting now is that even playing outside, because I remember if you do festivals, you do have monitors, but if you're not using in-ears, which I don't like to use because I like to just, it feels weird, muffled, is that it things don't feel as powerful, because when you're in a hall, you feel that you hear the sound go out and come back. So you think your guitar.
Oh, yeah, it's bouncing around.
Yeah, and then when you get outside, all of a sudden the guitar is not, it's just going and it's gone. So you're like, wait, do you need to turn it up? It's like, no, that's how loud it was last night. It's like, well, it sounds like half that now.
Right.
Because unless monitors do help or anything, but then even that changes. It doesn't seem, it's more intimate, I guess, and it feels more easier to maintain the energy.
But these are all things that you learn over time by doing it.
Yeah.
By doing it.
Yeah. There's no way. I mean, there's no way.
There's no other way to learn.
No, not at all.
Besides doing something.
Over and over and over and
over
and over.
And you've been doing music for a long time, right?
Yeah. Almost. Shit.
So you've had good gigs. You've had bad gigs, right?
Yeah. But I mean, same thing. when you're first starting in a band, you take any show you can.
Yeah.
I remember playing the laundromat. I remember playing.
Oh crap! Really?
Yeah. In San Francisco, there's a laundromat called, and I think it's called Brainwash Cafe. It was like a laundromat and a cafe.
That is awesome.
I remember playing. Basically, it's like when you start, it's like you're doing things where you're not the main attraction. You're kind of in the room as well. Right. Which makes you get better because it's like, how do you get the eyes on you? As opposed to, okay, this is just a venue. But but also too, some of those ones are the most fun because I remember being with the band. It's like those just.
Is it this one? San Francisco.
Yeah. Brainwash Cafe Laundromat. Yeah, that's it.
That is awesome.
I don't know if it's still open or not.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. See? Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Is like we were set up like in the corner on the ground with like a PA, right?
Yeah.
And you just kind of go, but it makes you so much better as
This is what we need here.
as a performer. It makes you get better at what you play.
Imagine doing your laundry and watching a band play. I'd want to do my laundry.
That's what I'm
often.
saying. It was a cool concept. I'm surprised. I'm glad it's still there.
That's
Oh, it's stage right there too and everything.
Where?
Whoa. Right there.
Yeah,
That looks like a stage
I think when we did, there wasn't that.
a little piece right there. Oh my god.
They've upgraded.
Whoa. This is cool.
We need this.
Yeah. No, it was a cool idea. I mean, we liked it. I mean, I but it's like what I'm saying is like you just take anything you can just because you want to do it.
Yeah.
Because honestly, even when you start, it's like it feels. I find that if you do enjoy it, it feels good, regardless.
No matter where you're at.
Of how it goes. Yeah. It does. It does for sure to this day. If I don't sing during the day or play myself when I write or anything like that, it's just like I get in a bad mood. Like I get edgy.
Oh,
I get kind of weird,
I see that.
And then the next day, if I don't do it for another day or 2 days or.
What is that? What do you think that is? Because I get that too.
I don't know, because there's a few times I have this tiny little nylon guitar. And it got to the point where I stopped traveling with it because it's kind of like I would take it all the time. But then my wife would be like, man, why are you bringing a guitar? Because if I play the guitar, what's funny is that everything else disappears, right? It's like, okay, I'm gonna go over here and do my own thing for a little bit. It's like, but we're together in this,
Yeah.
It's like, okay. So now if it's only a few days, I won't take it. But I messed up one time. I was like 5-6 days, and I didn't take it with me. And then by like the third day, it's just like, even if it's not long, it's just something you can become accustomed to doing. So it's like I got kind of just like bored, but then annoyed that I was bored. You know what I mean? Because I was like, I could just be bored right here, but I could be playing guitar and it's like, it's so easy.
I could be bored and playing guitar.
I could be just like thinking of doing something else while I'm doing that. So I stopped, but I don't know exactly what it is. And what's funny to me is I didn't realize it until my wife pointed it out to me. She's like, you need to go rehearse, get out of here. She's like, because you're doing way too much. Like you're just like coming in too hot all the time. It's like go and then I come back and I'm just like, really just much more relaxed.
I wonder what it is, dude. Because I get that same way. If the longest time that we've spent between publishing a podcast and between the next was like 11 days, and that period of 11 days was just like, oh my God, when is the next one? When are we scheduled? When I go on stage, I get a little bit of that because it's still, I'm still working out something. I'm still talking. I'm still trying to, practice.
I think that's the word, working.
Yeah.
You're working on it.
Yeah.
You're not being stagnant, no matter what you're doing, there is a possibility that you might discover something or learn something,
right?
That you didn't know the other day with like as far as performing
and even throughout the day, like if there's a premise or like an idea,
right?
Take out my phone and write it down real quick. That was always nice.
Do you write it down or do you do voice memos?
I write it down. I have to write anytime that I get an idea, I have to write it down because I'm gonna forget.
Of course,
my brain is just it runs too fast.
When you write it down, do you write it down as a joke or do you write it down as a topic?
Topic.
And so
and then I finesse it later. It could be the next day. It could be the same morning, or in a week, 2 weeks. I don't try to beat a dead horse. Like if I know that I have a good idea, I'll just leave it in my morning pages, and I'll come back to it, like every couple of days.
Do you ever? Because I'm always curious with this. Do you ever just write a joke and you just love it, and then you come back to it and it's just not right?
Oh, that's what the stage is for.
That's yes.
Yeah, I might think it's funny, right?
Right.
I go on stage, I say it, and people are like, "What the fuck is this guy's problem?" Like,
I'm always
what's
curious.
his?
This is because it's when something is
It's
funny.
It's sad. It's sad because I've had this stuff in my pocket for 2 years,
right.
And
you take it out,
and I take it
You're
out,
like, check
and
this out. Check this out. And everyone's all, oh.
right. But and that's why I say kill your darlings, because you might have an idea and you're just stuck on this fucking idea thinking it's going to be the best thing in the world. But then you go out on stage and it doesn't hit, and that's it. Kill your darlings.
Yeah. Getting
them
out there.
Get them out.
But it's also, the funny thing is too, is that it's easier to live in the place without testing them, because then they're great.
Oh yeah.
No matter what. It's like, man, I have a book full of jokes. So good. But then if you take them out, you're going to find out, like, are they?
Yeah.
It could be demoralizing too. It's like, oh my God. Like,
But
none of that worked.
At least for me, I have the attitude to where I do things and I want to get better each and every time.
Yeah.
Work at it. Work.
Right.
And it happens. It needs to.
I mean, so right now, when you do a set, how long is the set? Right?
5 minutes.
Does it feel fast or does it feel slow?
Feels very fast.
Okay, that's what I was curious.
Yeah.
Because I feel the same thing. When I first started playing, or any time, even when there's like an hour set, it still goes by super fast.
Yeah.
No matter what. By the time you settle into it, it's almost over.
Yeah.
And I was curious with comedy, is like, so you have 5 minutes. I'm always wondering, like, when they time comedians, where does that 5 minutes start? Right when you walk on stage, they start it?
Yeah. At least from the places that I've done.
So if you don't talk right away, your time's still going.
I'm messing myself up right now is because I like to make a room joke, which means that only the people in the room will get, like, and I base that on the environment. Like last night was First Amendment pizza, and I did a First Amendment pizza type of joke.
Right. To pull off of the room.
Yeah, to pull off the room. But I'm screwing myself up because I'm using that minute that I've never used before.
Right, and you're taking out of your set.
I'm taking out of my set.
So does it help? What if you just go straight into it?
I gotta that we're gonna find out tonight.
But I get it. I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
It's kind of like you walk out there and you want to kind of say, "Hey, how you doing?" Like, kind of.
Yeah, we're this.
Warm up, ease attention. Yeah, but it's just, that is true, to walk out there, because the set you're writing works. You've written it independent of the room.
Yes.
Theoretically, right? And then when you walk into the room, you go, "Oh, I want to say this."
Yeah.
So wait, if you write something, obviously like last night, does that cater to your first joke of the set?
No.
Or does it work independently?
Works independently.
So you do a joke, then you got to start up.
Then I got to start. I'm killing myself. I
was gonna say,
because it could be bad. Like last night I wrote it in like 2 minutes, and I was like, okay, like this is what I did. I went in, okay, First Amendment, okay, pizza, okay, like we're at a comedy show, you got to make it funny, and it did not go well last night. It didn't, because I kept on stumbling. Over, and I had to bring out my phone because what did I say? I was like, oh, this is a First Amendment.
I don't know. I blacked out. When I saw you put out your phone and say First Amendment, I was like, oh.
Hey, your eyes rolled back.
Yeah, I was like,
right.
I'm going to go into my happy place.
It was the survived trauma.
Yeah.
Her body shut down.
Right. But I mean, that's what happened. And
wait, what do you mean? Why did you pull out your phone?
So I pulled it out because I wonder, like on stage, I was like, I wonder what's the First Amendment? I didn't even know.
So you walked out there and you have 5 minutes.
Out of 5 minutes.
And you said, what's the First Amendment?
Yeah, Does anybody know? Because we're at the pizza place was called First Amendment, and I was like, do we even know what the First Amendment is?
Right.
And I read it, and whatever the First Amendment is, and I was like, okay, so you mean to tell me somebody read the First Amendment and said, I think I'm going to make a pizza place.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it was dumb. Like it was just like.
But I'm curious what was the allure of that?
What do you mean?
What was the allure of knowing that you want to do a joke about that as opposed to something that you know you worked on?
Because I leave at least a minute for those room jokes. At least that's part of what I do. I challenge myself a 1 minute, so that way I'm always on my toes.
Is that kind of like how some comedians? What's that comedian? The Greek guy, Starvos, online.
Oh, okay. I've seen some of his stuff.
Yeah, he does a lot of crowd work.
Yeah,
right. It's like so that's you want to build that up too.
Yeah. But I think when you're at open mics, crowd work is not.
Yeah, you don't have time.
You don't have time. You don't have time for that. So last night is my first. I'm not doing that. Not anymore.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, I feel like if you're
wasted time.
Yeah, which means that you wasted time to test stuff you've actually written.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like trial and error. You're kind of taking like, oh well.
It just started like this month where I started doing that, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna try this every place I go.
That would be the same as me writing a song, right, for 3 weeks, bringing in you, and saying like, hold on, I just thought about something in the car here. Let me play that for you.
Yeah, basically.
Like, I have a song about this laundromat.
You know what? Hey, I just experienced something on the fucking 10. Let me sing you a song about the 10.
Yeah.
You know, and you're just like, meanwhile, I have this song I've crafted for like 3 weeks, got every lyric, every melody right. I'm like, hold on real quick. I was on the way here. I was inspired by the 10. I'm going to sing that song for you real quick.
Exactly.
You live and learn, bro. You live and learn.
I think tonight, you just go do your set.
I'm just go in there and that's it.
Yeah. See where it goes.
See where it goes. But on that note, Octavio,
thank you so much.
Thanks for coming out and doing the podcast, bro. I appreciate it. So go ahead and tell us where we can find you and what you got coming up.
Yeah. Octavio F.G. It's on Instagram. It's on Spotify. It's on Deezer. All the same tag. Gonna have a new single coming out called Ride With Me. That's going to be coming out, I believe, in the new year with the video and everything, since we're already coming down to the end of it. But yeah, check it out online. Octavio FG, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Not Twitter, whatever it is now. X. Thank you so much, Gil.
Oh,
You got it, man.
X, huh?
It's X now.
And then on your YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. If you just go into Google and write Octavio FG, it'll bring up everything. Go into web crawler and write it down.
What's web crawling?
It's a whole nother podcast.
No, web crawlers. Oh man, daters are like Excite, web crawler, Yahoo, all these defunct
Got it.
search engines that no longer live.
But you don't have to go to a web crawler. You can go down to the show description on YouTube and Spotify. All the links that Octavio just talked about will be down in the show descriptions. Give him a follow. Check out his YouTube channel. Check out his new singles coming out. His music video is freaking phenomenal. It's going to be down here in the show description. Check it out. And then tonight, if you're not doing anything 8 p.m. or if you're doing something 8 p.m., you're going to like a kids thing for your kid, just pull out your phone. Go to the link in the show description. Well, yeah, I'll put it in the show description. Check it out tonight live at Pig Studio in the city of Compton with our boys, the West Coast Pop Lock Podcast, and Jose for the Soy Funny competition. And there you go. Just have fun. It's gonna be cool. I'm excited to do this.
I'm gonna listen.
Yeah.
Top 5.
Top 5. Yeah. Just remind me, dude. Yeah. Write me. Be like, don't do a room joke.
Don't talk about a podcast. Yeah, just saying.
We all need reminders, but
yeah, for sure.
This was awesome, man.
Thank you, Gil.
Appreciate it, bud.
The Mind Buzz.
Boom.
Bye.
All right.